Hello, it's Friday the 21st of December, and in this video I'm just looking at the latest EuroMillions result. I'm going to analyse it and basically I'm going to see what's going on with the EuroMillions at the moment, so I can make some predictions for tonight's draw, which is £91 million jackpot. So this is the most recent result from draw 1173. The machine was machine 3, set of balls 5, as predicted. And nobody won the jackpot, so this is my analysis. So looking at the main numbers that stand out initially, in this column on the left, the only one that stood out was number 39, and that was with machine 3 and recent draw history since the star numbers went up to 12. So this is the chart for machine 3 since the star numbers went up to 12 as it looked in the last draw. And so you can see that there's number 39, and if you measure this area to the bottom corner from every number, you'll find that 39 is the one with the biggest area, which means it's most overdue for its frequency. Also on the star number side, the most overdue star number, number 5, that one came out as well. So that's the chart we just looked at. And if we look at machine 3 and set of balls 5 together, so we narrow it down even further, then looking at that, star number 5 appears to be even more overdue on that chart. So it was basically main number 39 and star number 5 that stood out the most initially, and that's looking at the analyzer. You can see the only numbers that show up are 39 and star number 5 out of all these numbers. So looking at 39, none of the other numbers stood out with 39, and looking at star number 5, none of the other numbers stood out with star number 5 either. So quite unpredictable. 1 and 48 points with each other, star 9 points to 39, number 1 points to star number 7, number 18 points to star number 7, and that's about it. So that's all the coincidences. So out of all these outstanding numbers, we only got these coincidences, which means that this result could not have been predicted by an algorithm based on most outstanding numbers. So basically that pretty much concludes the analysis, because that's about as far as I could have predicted. Basically one main number and one star number, and you won't win anything for that anyway. So now let's look at which numbers stand out at the moment. So we've got these numbers. So for each of these blocks, I'm going to show you the chart to which they correspond. So starting with the chart for all machines, all sets of balls and full draw history. So that chart looks like this. And I will have to zoom out a bit so you can see it all. So on the main number side, number 50 is most frequent and most overdue for its frequency, measuring this area as well as the horizontal component. And the most overdue number is 22. That's on the main number side. On the star number side, we need to narrow it down to the recent history, since the star numbers went up to 12. And looking at this, you can see star number 4 most overdue for its frequency and also most overdue. So initially the two most outstanding numbers appear to be number 50 and number 4. So that's these two. Now let's have a look at the next chart then. So in recent history, still got number 50 most overdue for its frequency, but since the star numbers went up to 12, the most frequent number has been 17, and the most frequent star number 3. And so that's this chart. Now let's look at a set of balls 5, and you notice it's exactly the same in full history as it is in recent history for set of balls 5, and the reason why is because set of balls 5 has only been used since the star numbers went up to 12. So looking at this chart, you can see 30 is most overdue for its frequency on the main numbers. Main number 10 is most overdue, and 48 is the most frequent main number. And then looking at the star numbers, you can see that the most frequent one is star number 3, and the most overdue is star number 4, and it's also most overdue for its frequency. So that's what the chart for these two blocks looks like. Now machine 3 has been used also before the star numbers went up to 12, so these numbers are different to these numbers. So let's have a look then at the chart for machine 3. So since the star numbers went up to 12, the chart for machine 3 looks like this. So 35 is most overdue, 17 is most frequent, and the one that's most overdue for its frequency is 24. And I noticed that we've also got some numbers on the edge of the chart, such as 22, which is one of the most overdue numbers on the main chart, and looks like 31's on the edge, and on the edge of this one we've got 11, most overdue star number 6, and most frequent 3 and 4. So again, star number 4 pops up again. Now if we look at that in full draw history, so we're including the draws from before the star numbers went up to 12. So now this star number section's biased towards star numbers 1 to 9 also 10 and 11 and 12's getting left behind. So we can ignore the star numbers and just focus on the main numbers looking at this chart. And on the main number side you can see that again 35 is most overdue, 39 is most frequent, and the one that is most overdue for its frequency when you multiply the vertical and horizontal components together is number 49. So that one stands out the most on the chart for machine 3. Now if we narrow it down even further to machine 3 and set of balls 5 together, then now looking at the main numbers, 17 still most frequent, 16 is most overdue, and the one that comes up as most overdue for its frequency is main number 6. And I notice we've got some interesting numbers on the edge of the chart, such as number 30. So at the moment we're looking at these two, which are identical because set of balls 5 has only been used in recent history since the star numbers went up to 12. So we've seen this one, and now looking at this one. The numbers that are on the edge of this chart, 30, got 47, 10, and these come up as, well, 10's most overdue with set of balls 5, and 30 is most overdue for its frequency with set of balls 5 as well. So no surprise that these numbers come up sort of on the edge of the chart, but also notice 47's on the edge of this chart, and it was on the edge of one of the others a minute ago as well. So anyway, now that we've looked at all these charts, let's see what stands out with these numbers. So first of all, let's look at all the most overdue numbers. So I've got 10, 16, 22, 35. So that's all of the most overdue ones. And also star number 4 and star number 6 as well. So we're analysing all the most overdue numbers, and these are the numbers that stand out with them. So if these numbers came out, this is what coincidences we'd get. So 22 most overdue with 16, 35 most overdue with 22, 4 and star numbers 4 and 6 stand out with these two numbers as well. So also we've got 49, which stands out with machine 3, stands out in the same way with star number 4. So if 49 came out with these most overdue numbers, then we would get these coincidences. So 49 is most frequent with 22, 22 is most frequent with 49 in recent history, and it stands out with star number 4 as well. So maybe 49 would come out with star number 4 or some of the other most overdue numbers. So now let's look at the numbers that are the purple ones, which are the ones that are most overdue for the frequencies. So looking at those, we've got 6 and 24, 30 and 49, 50, star number 4 and star number 11. So these are all the ones that are most overdue for the frequencies. So if these numbers came out, then we'd get all these coincidences. So 30 and 6 most frequent with each other and machine free. Star number 11 stands out with number 49, and star number 4 stands out with 11. Star number 11 stands out with number 4 on the star numbers side. 49 stands out with 30, so does 6 and 30. So those are the coincidences that we'd get if all the most overdue for the frequency numbers came out. So now let's look at all the most frequent numbers. So the green ones now. So that's 17, 39, 48, 50, and then we've got star numbers 3 and star number 8. So these are all the most frequent ones, and if they all came out together, then we'd get these coincidences. So you can see 50 and star number 8 very frequent together, especially with machine 3 and set pulse 5. 48 and 50 point to each other, as well as star number 8, and 39 doesn't point to anything. I don't see anything pointing to 39 either, so not many coincidences with that. And so these are the numbers that they point to. So we've got 17 points to 49, 39 points to 30, and 24 and 16. And also star number 1 is most frequent with machine 3 when looking at the full draw history. So let's have a look at star number 1. So see, that points to 47, and I don't see any of the other most outstanding numbers on there, except maybe star number 3, star number 6 most overdue, and that's about it for that. So if it was star number 1, we get these coincidences. So you can see 39 points to star number 1 as most overdue, and 48 is pointing to star number 1 as most frequent. So those are the coincidences that we get if all the most frequent numbers came out. So the question is, which numbers stand out the most when we're looking at the chart? So let's have a look. Which numbers stand out the most on this chart? Well, I noticed that star number 4 stands out quite a lot, so let's make a note of that one. Now with machine 3, looking at recent history, none of these particularly stand out, but what I find interesting is the numbers that are all bunched up together in the more dense regions, because they tend to spread out. So when they're all bunched up together, it's quite likely that, you know, because there's more numbers in each cell, there's more likely that a number from that cell will drop. So it's just the laws of averages. that point to that. So looking at recent history, you can see star number 4 stands out a lot. So let's see the chart for star number 4 and see what it points to. See, that points to 49, and that's one of the most outstanding numbers. And if we look at the full history for star number 4, you can see 36 is most overdue. And I've got all these numbers in a column, so maybe one of these will drop if star number 4 comes out. So anyway, looking at the main chart, I would say that number 50 stands out the most, probably, on that, because it stands out in two different ways. So I'll probably pick number 50. So looking at this, then we've got a number that's most frequent and most overdue for its frequency, and then the same with star number 4. So maybe we should pick a number that is most frequent with these two to kind of balance it out a bit. And I notice 48 is most frequent and most overdue for its frequency with machine 3 and set of balls 5, and it's also most frequent with set of balls 5, so maybe 48. So let's have a look then at set of balls 5. Now on this chart, I've got star number 4 again, and star number main number 10 right up there is a lot more overdue than all the other numbers, so it kind of stands out quite a lot on that. So let's see if anything stands out a lot with main number 10. So I noticed 31 on the edge of that chart again, and number 6 on the edge of the chart, and over here we've got number 9 stands out. It's most frequent, and so is star number 3. Number 2, star number 2 stands out with main number 10. So that's the chart for main number 10, which is most overdue. So maybe I'll pick main number 10. So it seems like 29 stands out the most with main number 10. So at the deepest level we've got main number 6 stands out with main number 10, and that one points to 16, which is one of the most overdue. Points to star number 8 as well. So let's have a look at 16. So that's pointing to 22, star number 11, star number 9. So main number 6, second most overdue with 16, 27 most overdue. So star number 9 stands out in two different ways with main number 16. So if star number 9 came out, 4 and 9 point to each other with machine 3 and set of pawns 5. So also I notice 48 stands out with 50, and that also points to 16 and 50 as well. So I could go on, you know, looking at how different numbers point to each other and things like that, but I'll just leave it as it is now, because if these numbers came out, we'd get plenty of coincidences. So I guess that's my prediction for tonight, but whatever I predict is usually wrong, so I wouldn't rely on it. So anyway, I hope that this has been an interesting video for you, because I'm going to wrap it up now because it's long enough. So good luck in tonight's draw, and bye for now.